Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Emmanuel Nkona from Monrovia, Liberia. I am an environmental advocate and the Executive Director for the Youth Alliance for Climate Justice and Environmental Accountability. And Team Yache is a local youth-based movement here in Liberia engaging to mobilizing individuals, local communities, and the national government about urgently initiating practical activities and programs to responsibly and sustainably care for the environment that we live in. And we are also engaged into advocating for the inclusion of young people into major discussion relating to environmental governance and environmental accountability. I want to take this time to officially welcome all of our participants, those from South Africa, those from North Africa, those from West Africa, and other attendees from East Africa, from Central Africa, and our friends who are joining us from the diaspora. I want to say you are warmly welcome to this Pre-COP27 future event. And I also want to appreciate the HBCU family for taking up the initiative to sponsor this ethnical history event. I want to share with you a project my team and I initiated a couple of months ago. The project is called Restore the Mangrove, Save the Forest. And Restore the Mangrove, Save the Forest is a project we developed to respond to forest degradation across Liberia, and specifically here in Monrovia, where there is a current drastic decline in mangrove forest ecosystem found within the Monrovia wetland. Restoring those places that have been degraded or trees require us to provide local residents and people within each of those community seedings for them to plant within their respective backyards, plant within the communities, and then for us to have those areas grow again. So this brings us back to the issue about having access to seeds and then seedings. So mostly at times we will have to go out there in search of seeds. Different variety of trees, we have to get their seeds, bring them over to our nursery bed and do the processing. So most at times we'll have to buy the seeds from local vendors, or we'll have to buy the seeds from people who are selling within each of those markets across Monrovia. So like the recent project we did, we had to go out to the public markets here in Monrovia, buy the fruits from the sellers, extract the seeds, and then process the seed for to place it on our nursery bed to develop the seeding that we want. But mostly at times, if we don't have access to the seeds here in Monrovia, we have to visit rural communities. Like we were fortunate to have visited Kanta, which is in or Northern Liberia. We went there and we talked to local residents within the area that were in need of certain species of tree, specifically their seeds, and then they were able to give us some time, went out there, search for it, and when they brought it, we have to buy those seeds from them, bring the seeds over for us to do the processing. But mostly at times we'll have to get to the public markets, buy the fruits, extract the seeds, or talk to the local sellers for them to directly sell the seeds to us, and then we will have to take it for processing on our nursery bed to develop the seedings, and then which will distribute the seedings to the communities that we are working in. So there are different varieties of tree species that we are working with, and most of those tree species are indigenous to Liberia. And for the fruit trees, at times we give preference to trees that will have more canopy in terms of serving as carbon sink within those places that will be planting them. So at times we'll go out there for mango, at times we'll go out for citrus, we'll go out for the avocado pears and other tree species. But for the issue about the tree that we are working with within the wetland, we have different types of mangrove species within the wetland over there. So mostly we are working with the Africana acifina, and then another one that we try to work on, even though we are finding it difficult to have access to the seeds. But basically those different fruit trees, we have to get their seeds. And then for the mangrove trees, for now we are dealing with the Africana acifina seeds. So after the successful collection of those various seeds or fruits from the destination I just talked about. We have them transported at my house, where we have our traditional tree nursery bed at my backyard, and our nursery is situated on a high plot of land. And then we start the processing of each of those seed from the fruit for to have the seeding. So the first work that we engage in normally when we carry the fruit or the seeding is that we will have to extract the seeds from the fruit. After the extraction process, then we get engaged into the drying. So the drying aspect is very common or applied to all of those seeds that we bring forth from different destinations, whether fruit trees or not. So after drying, we'll have to monitor it for 2 to 3 days, do sorting, because not all of those seeds will be mature enough to germinate. So we do sorting of the seeds. After the sorting of the seeds, then we have them placed within the polythene bags that we are using. Normally we give preference to using water sachet because it's a single-use plastic. So we don't want to get engaged where we'll be promoting the use of plastic across. So normally we have to get the water sachet and then place the seeds into it as a polythene bag, and then we monitor each of those seeds that will be placed there to see the rate of germination and to see whether they will be affected by insects in terms of growth. As we monitor the germination of each of those seedlings within the nursery, we frequently visit and check on the nursery in terms of insect invasion, in terms of maybe other factors that might impede the growth of those seedlings. So mostly at times we do regular visitation at the site because it is very close. Mostly I have to get in, and all of volunteers have to come over for to do frequent monitoring. And at times within every month we get engaged by weeding out some we also have the nursery. And then there are new mechanisms that we are bringing that is trying to place the nursery within a mini fence, where we will have the presence of insects within the nursery that embarrassing the growth of those seedlings. And then we further get engaged into the monitoring aspect of those seedlings, because as each of the seedlings germinate, there are series of factors that affect their growth. We might see being exposed to excessive rain, and then the rate of the seedling growing might be affected, and the presence of insects within the nursery might affect the growth rate. And then other factors that are not under our control, that is the issue about land space, because the more we have the seedling cluster together, the timing they might germinate or the growth rate will be less. So mostly for this time around, we are trying to expand the nursery to acquire additional plot of land to add it to what we have for to have a bigger size of the nursery. But for now, we are using a half plot of land at my backyard as a site for the development of our tree nursery. Mostly at times we will give 8 to 9 weeks for the maturity of the seedlings before distribution. And while the seedling is in a preparatory stage for transplanting, we get ourselves engaged with those communities, and we provide them climate literacy education on the issue about using tree planting as a mitigated approach towards climate change, and also as a resilient approach. That is, they should use the trees or the seedlings that we are going to give them, look after it, and use them to build that resiliency against climate change. So mostly at times they get ourselves engaged into schools across Montserrat. We have been fortunate to have worked in Carisburg, and we also work in one of the most populated urban centers here in Liberia, that is Pinsio. And we held a series of events in the 72nd community, and all of those events were geared toward creating or providing climate literacy education about how local communities can use trees for them to build their resiliency and create more carbon sink or reduce their carbon footprint as we combat climate change here in Liberia. And there have been other activities we have had with those communities as well, in terms of getting the environment free of plastics. We launched some part of July. We launched a plastic-free Mozzarella campaign. That is, we're talking to community and even people who are selling within each of those communities to try and promote environmental cleaning or environment-free plastic, that is reducing our dependence on plastic. So we held a series of events with those communities, and we even did some reach out to primary and secondary schools here, and then we talked to them about the issue about school being plastic free, about promoting a green campus that is trying to get rid or reduce the usage of plastic on campus. And then there have been a lot of things, but the most recent of them was the distribution of over 126 seedlings of fruit trees to several residents here in Kirisburg, in Maserado, where we have the nursery located. We did some reach out, talk to them, provide environmental education about them, about using the trees as a means of reducing our carbon footprint. And then we did the distribution. We followed this on follower services on it, that is the maintenance aspect of the seedlings that we distributed. Throughout the course of our engagement with people, our engagement with local communities about environmental cleaning and environmental restoration, the journey has been rewarding. As we look back from where we come from, we see a new future for Liberia, we see a new future for Africa, and then we see the global community turning to afforestation. So once again, I want to appreciate all the speakers who have initiated wonderful projects in our respective communities, and to you, our wonderful participants, for joining us for this great event today. It has been very rewarding being here with you on this platform. And to the sponsor of this event, that is the HBCU Green Fund, for the family and team at Yaje, want to be appreciated to you for affording us the time to share with so many young people out there what we are doing here in Liberia, and then what's the future we hope for to have for Africa and the world. So thank you for joining us. It has actually been rewarding being here with you. Thank you.